What if I told you that you don't need a grand vision or a 5-year plan to live a meaningful creative life? What if I told you that the secret is not about being the best, or producing something viral, or making your mark on the world in one bold stroke? What if all it really takes is the decision to make something small every day? We live in a world obsessed with outcomes. We measure value by scale. If it's not big, if it's not loud, if it's not followed, shared, or monetized, we're taught to believe it doesn't matter. But deep creativity doesn't always come in flashes of genius or dramatic breakthroughs. It doesn't require a masterpiece. It grows in the quiet, ordinary spaces of our daily lives. It's in the doing, not the declaring, the practice, not the perfection, the small act repeated. When you make something small every day, you're not just creating objects, you're building a relationship with yourself, with your curiosity, with your capacity to notice. You're saying, I am here, I am awake, I am willing to see the world through creative eyes. And let me be clear, when I say something small, I mean small. A sentence, a sketch, a dance in your kitchen, a photo of the way sunlight falls through your window, a haiku scribbled on the back of a receipt, a voice memo you might never play again, something without pressure, something with breath, something that doesn't have to prove itself to anyone. Most people don't create because they think the first thing they make has to be brilliant, and when it's not, they feel embarrassed, or worse, they feel like a failure. So they stop before they even really start. But no one begins brilliant, no one begins polished. You don't pick up a guitar and write a symphony. You learn one chord, then another. Then, maybe a terrible song that no one should ever hear, but you made it. And the next one is better, and the next one is even better than that. This is how momentum works. This is how confidence is built, not in a single act of greatness, but in the daily decision to show up for yourself. Without expectation or apology, the real work of creativity happens in the quiet repetitions, the small attempts, the invisible progress. We tell ourselves we don't have time, but how long does it take to write one sentence, to take one picture, to record one idea? Creativity doesn't need your whole day. It needs your attention. It needs your willingness. A few minutes of presence can yield more than hours of distraction. You don't have to overhaul your life. You just have to make space. The beauty of creating something small is that it becomes a ritual, something sacred, consistent, grounding. It anchors you to the present moment. It reminds you that you are not just a worker or a parent or a student or a machine. You are a maker. You have a voice, you have an imagination, and it deserves to be heard, not someday, but today. And here's something else that's often forgotten. You are allowed to create just for yourself. You don't have to share everything. You don't have to post it or explain it or improve it. You can make something and keep it private. You can let it be yours alone, because creativity isn't a performance, it's a relationship. Some things are meant to be kept sacred. If you commit to something small every day, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop waiting for permission. You stop comparing yourself to others. You start to trust your instincts. You begin to notice ideas you never saw before. Your creative muscles wake up. Your inner critic quiets down. Your fear loses power. You're no longer waiting for inspiration. You're living in a way that invites it. There will be days when it feels pointless, days when your effort feels hollow or clumsy or uninspired. But keep going. Creativity is not linear. Some days will be golden, others gray. But each small act is a seed. You might not see what it grows into for a while. You might not know which piece will take root, but it will. It always does, because creativity compounds. One sketch turns into a series. One paragraph becomes a story. One melody becomes a song. One idea becomes a project. One journal entry becomes a book. But none of it happens without the first small thing, and the second, and the third. It also teaches you resilience. When you make something every day, you learn how to let go. You learn how to move on. You stop clinging to perfection and start embracing flow. You learn how to say, that was today's work. Tomorrow, I begin again. And that's a powerful way to live. It frees you from the weight of expectations. It gives you space to explore without fear. You might discover that your creativity shifts over time. That what you want to make today is different from what you made last year. That's good. That's growth. Small acts allow you to evolve. They allow you to experiment. They allow you to follow your curiosity instead of staying stuck in one identity. And don't underestimate what your small act might mean to someone else. A short poem could lift someone from despair. A quick sketch could inspire a new idea. A simple song could remind someone they're not alone. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. You never know what your little act of courage might spark in the world. But even if no one ever sees it, even if it stays tucked in a drawer or buried in a file, it still matters, because it changed you. It reminded you of your agency. It connected you to something bigger. It lit a candle in the dark. And sometimes that's everything. Start small. Stay small if you want to, but stay consistent. If you miss a day, don't punish yourself. Just return again and again. That's the rhythm. That's the dance. That's the heartbeat of a creative life. You're not too busy. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're just on the edge of something beautiful. And it starts not with a plan or a breakthrough, but with one small gesture, one tiny spark, 1 minute of daring. Today, you can make something. Not because you have to, not because it will be perfect, but because it will be real, because it will be yours, because it will say, I was here, I saw, I felt, I created, and tomorrow you do it again.